This is my first duplex flip ever, and I bought 4 of these. The strategy on these is completely different from my usual single-family flips because rentals do not need the same level of upgrades. So in this video, I'm going to take you through one of these units and show you the work we plan to do. Make sure you stay until the very end because I'm going to talk about how and why I bought these and also break down the numbers. Let's start out front. First thing you notice when you walk towards the front door is there are huge cracks on the concrete patio. Normally, I would probably replace it and put in new concrete, but because this is going to be a rental, we probably would just seal the cracks and make sure it's not a tripping hazard, and then we call it done because it's just not necessary to spend so much money when you are going to rent these units out. The railings here are very functional. They help prevent people from falling off the stairs, but they are so ugly. And I would normally replace these with maybe black square-shaped railings, but on this one, I'm also gonna skip that. Even this storm door, usually storm doors bother me so much because they're just not very pretty, but we may even keep it here.
Even though it opens in a very weird way.
Oh, I forgot to mention, look at this storm door opens from this side, but the actual door opens from the other side. So it took me a while to open it because the door also hits the railing and it doesn't open all the way. And then I was struggling to put the key in here because there's not enough clearance. That's just crazy to me. But because it's a rental, maybe we'll just remove the storm door so that it doesn't cause tenants that much trouble. And this door also has seen better days. There's paint peeling off and possibly some dry rot. I don't know if we can save it still, but if we can, we definitely will try. But if not, we'll have to replace it. And then it's a very simple 3-bedroom, 1-bath unit. This is the living room. We have a ceiling fan. I'm normally not a fan of ceiling fans, but because this is gonna be a rental anyway, so we may just keep it. And then the wall heaters, usually on single family flips, we try to replace these and put in new HVAC system. Usually central heating is desirable, but again, on here, we may just paint the wall heater and still keep it. The interior paint doesn't look that bad and the floors in pretty decent shape. The floors are hardwood floors and it's of a darker color. On my single family flips, I usually try to use lighter finishes to brighten up the room and to go with the more natural trend. But on here, I really don't care that much. And we probably won't even put in recessed lights. But this light fixture is flickering, so that we're going to address. But here we see again that people put a hook so that the light doesn't hang directly from the electrical outlet, which is interesting, but it doesn't bother me that much on this unit.
Yeah. Maybe if you have an electrician that watches, they can explain why people did that all the time.
Maybe they think it's more decorative that way.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So now we get into this kitchen. I was really pleasantly surprised when I saw this kitchen the first time because it looks quite clean and the cabinets, appliances don't look bad at all. So for a rental unit, these are sufficient. And we may decide to paint the cabinets because there's some marks on the cabinets, but we probably would just keep the cabinets, countertops, and even the appliances because it's pretty decent. Yeah, there's laundry in here because it's a small unit. So this is probably the only place where they can fit laundry. The door and laundry are so close to each other. There's not really enough space there, but it's not a big deal. I'm sure like it's been working for a long time and they they've been able to make it work. That door is to the backyard, by the way. I think it's really like the scope of work is so simple. I did notice that the flooring in the kitchen is slightly different from the rest of the house. The rest of the house has hardwood floors, but in this kitchen, I think this is laminate floors, and it has this reddish tone that's not so appealing, but because it doesn't have, it's in decent condition, we probably would also still keep the flooring in here. You may be surprised that like I'm usually doing so much work on my flips, but this time I feel like I don't have a lot to do here, which is weird to me too. This bedroom feels really dark. The light is quite dim, but we probably won't put in more light. Maybe we will change the light bulb in the fan so that it will be brighter. But other than that, the room really is in pretty decent shape. There's a lot of paint peeling off the door and the casing, so that's something we definitely need to fix. We may have to repaint the interior of the home, especially now that I see that in this bathroom, there's definitely some new paint and old paint that's not matching. But the vanity looks pretty good. It seems like it was even cut to the size of this area, because usually countertops comes out a little more, but the door doesn't give it enough space. We may put in a new mirror here, but it's not necessary. And then the toilet is fine. We have a one-piece shower enclosure. That's usually what I would gut and put in new tiles, but because this is gonna be a rental, again, we're just gonna leave it. We could reglaze it to freshen it up, but that's the most we would do. And then we have another, you see a lot of peeling paint on this closet door as well. It's pretty bad, so that definitely needs to be addressed. And then there is the second bedroom, which is pretty similar, and we're going to put in a brighter light bulb there, and there is a little darkened area in the wall. It could be mildew or even mold spots. We're going to definitely clean that off and see if we can still keep the sheetrock. If it's really moldy, then we would have to replace the sheetrock. It's really pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's one of probably the most simple flips I've ever seen you do.
Yeah, it's really not quite a flip. So this is the biggest bedroom, and the closet door is decent. The windows in this unit are all newer double pane windows, which is a really big cost saving. And then we'll have to address some of the wires here so it's not all exposed and kind of unsafe. But other than that, it's not much. Next, we can go look at the backyard.
This is a decent sized backyard.
It is. So we have a good sized concrete patio, and then we have some grass, which is really nice. It's very family friendly. So I think our tenant base is probably gonna be families with kids. And there's that fence in the middle that's not really doing much. We talked about potentially removing it so the backyard can actually be even larger. And then there are these two huge sheds. Like for a regular flip, I could remove them because especially this one doesn't look that pretty, but because it's gonna be a rental and tenants could use these for storage, they can be very useful. So we will likely just keep them where they are. And then on the outside, we may want to repaint the exterior because there's uneven colors, and also the roof is at the end of its life, which is a big ticket item that we have to fix. And that's really the big chunk of the entire renovation budget. Speaking of budget, this renovation that I was talking about is going to cost about, I think, like 40,000, like including the roof. The roof is like more than half of the cost. So the rest is just really minor fixes, which is like so cheap compared to my normal renovations. But because these are going to be rentals, really, like, we don't have to upgrade the kitchen and the bathrooms. Let's go inside and talk more about the deal. Some of you may be wondering, this is so different. Why am I even taking on this deal? I found this deal from an agent who brought this as a package deal. So they have 4 duplexes, 8 units total, and he was wondering if I would be interested. So I looked at this the same way I looked at a regular flip, where I calculated the after repair value, the renovation cost, and all the other costs, and then decided on a max offer price. And after some negotiation, we were able to get the offer price to the price where the numbers would make sense. So I decided to take it on. Speaking of numbers, the purchase price is about $1.1 million each. And we plan to put about 50,000 into each unit and then sell each duplex at about 1.5 million. So that would give us a good margin. It's actually how the numbers work. It's kind of similar to regular house flips, but then when you calculate the after repair value, you don't want to use just using the comps, but also cap rate is so important. That's where you use the rents minus all the expenses to get to a number and then divided it by the sale price. So that's in this area, it's about 4%. And these units are well within that range. We're talking about the renovations as if they are going to be rented out, but my plan is not to rent these out myself, but to find a buyer, likely an investor, who's going to rent all of these units out, or they could also live in one of these units and then rent out the rest. It's kind of like house hacking. These are my target buyers because they are probably going to continue renting these units. That's why my scope of work on the renovation is geared towards more like a rental unit. That's why we could keep the budget pretty low. This is very different than the single family home flips that I usually do. Do you like this type of flips? Do you want to see more content like this? Make sure you leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.